Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the channel, The Stone Mandalorian. I'm the Stone Mando, or you can call me Cody, whichever you prefer. And today I'm going to be taking a look at another knockoff figure from AliExpress, and it's still going to be the retro carded Spider-Man, animated series Spider-Man, as you can see here. And this is, again, it's very similar to the Marvel Legends, or the not Marvel Legends, I should say, the knockoff Venom figure that I got. The packaging is very similar to the authentic Marvel Legends, but there are some giveaways and little signs and clues you can look for to determine if you have a bootleg or not. And it's hard to catch on camera, but the consistency, the texture of the cardboard, it's not as smooth as an actual Hasbro Marvel Legends. It's got a weird, rough, dotty texture to it on the actual cardboard, but it's like I said, it's very hard to see in person. And also the words aren't quite as crisp. It almost has like a fuzzy haze to it. Again, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but as you can see here also as well, the clamshell is pretty much the blister pack. The plastic is pretty much all dented in and stuff, and typically that's another indication that you have a knockoff, because I believe the Marvel Legends plastic is a little bit thicker and sturdier. And also you can see here on the side, the cardboard it's thick, but which is very similar to Marvel Legends card backs, but it's a lot more white than it should be. I don't have another card Marvel Legends, but if you compare them, put them side by side, it's much whiter. And as you can see, there's a little bit of the lines on the suit don't come all the way to the eyes. A little nervous about that. I can even see where it goes back on the head. So just off from the start in the box, there's a little bit of a paint defect, but other than that, the figure looks pretty good. The lines look pretty uniform for the most part on the overall costume. But I'm really excited to get into this, man. The knockoff Venom was I was just so impressed with it, and I love it so much. It's just so fun to mess around with. I'm just really looking forward to getting into this and seeing if it carries the same energy that Venom did. So let's get into it.
All right, y'all, here's Spidey out the box. And I got to say, like I said, there was a couple things that I've seen just from inside the packaging before I even opened it up. But for $13, dude, this is a pretty damn decent, I'm not going to say amazing, but it's a really decent Spider-Man figure for $13 freaking dollars. Give this a quick spin so y'all can check it out. There is bits of paint that are sloppy. It's mainly on certain parts of the shoulders here, and I'll show y'all all that when I go over articulation and the paint and sculpting and stuff. A little bit of missing web work or line work on the top of the mask here, so that's kind of a bit of a bummer. Other than typical for bootlegs for Marvel Legends is the ab crunch and the hips are a little bit loose, but again, that's no big deal. And I'll go over some of the closer details of the indications that kind of give away that this is a bootleg figure. Just getting a first look, this is an awesome pose. I really love the way this looks. I'm probably going to keep them on the shelf like this, but I am going to go over some of the big giveaways that this is a bootleg figure. One giveaway is the thigh swivel right here. On the Marvel Legends version, the thigh swivel is not as jagged or sharp as the edges on here. It's got a little more, it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but it's got a little more of a roundness to it. With this one, when you turn the thigh, there's very much, it's kind of edgy. It's not really smoothed out and rounded like the Marvel Legends version is. Getting down here also to some of the joints, the peg holes here. Not the hand, but the actual hinge of the peg. On the Marvel Legends, it's typically a darker red, and this peg is actually the same color as the red paint on the figure itself, which is actually better. That's one reason why this is kind of got one up on the Marvel Legends, is because that darker red plastic hinge for the pegs and the peg holes really, they kind of stick out a lot on the Marvel Legends version. I wish I had one to go over the more side-by-side, closer side-by-side differences, but you can see this hinge is pretty much the same color, and it's very seamless looking. It looks good to mimic a seamless costume. Got some pins here, and they're a little more smoothed out on this bootleg here. And I believe on the Marvel Legends version, the The peg holes actually protrude a little bit more. And then the opposite goes for the knees. You can kind of see on the side where the pins on the knees, they kind of do bulge out on the sides a little bit. I don't know if you can notice that. It's kind of hard to pick this stuff up on camera. This side's actually pretty smoothed down, to be honest. There's a little bit of a stick out right here, and there's a bulge at the top of here, but actually, now that I'm looking, the other ones are actually pretty smooth and flush with the figure itself. Another giveaway is this little section in the hips right here, this gap. I believe the Marvel Legends doesn't have this much of a gap. And that's another way you can tell from a bootleg figure. This gap will be more prominent. And then there's also another piece down here on the back of the belt area. On the Marvel Legends version, it kind of cuts off this piece of the belt. It kind of comes down on the red part of the costume here. The bootleg version doesn't. It's just about flush with the top of the red part of the costume. So this right here is also another giveaway that it's a bootleg. This is not like the Marvel, the bootleg Venom that I just uploaded. This figure has a lot more inconsistencies with the Marvel Legends retro card Spidey. The Venom is damn near close to the legit Marvel Legends. I was very impressed and surprised, but this is just not the case with this. And I feel like I had noticed, no. And just the one part of the paint that kind of bums me out is you can see it doesn't quite come to the eyes. There's a little miss on this side. Let me turn this light down a little. It looks a little too bright. But you can kind of see the miss, and it doesn't come right down to the eyes. But it's mainly on this side here. You can see where it didn't match up to the rest of the lines. And it's this way down all the way on the back of the head. Well, it kind of matches up right here, where you can see how it gradually starts to taper off from the actual line of the costume. Which, that's not that bad. The rest of the line work is actually really neat. Like, if you look at the rest of this, it's very uniform, very cleanly applied. Like the rest, see, there's a little splotch right there missing. The shoulders, too, is one part you can kind of see right here. You can see where the blue is kind of bleeding over, where they didn't cover it with the red all the way. But that is just a minor nitpick. But like the rest of these lines actually look very, very clean. Got some butterfly joints here. They got these painted too. And I believe on the Marvel Legends version, this line is supposed to come further out to the shoulder. But overall, it's not a terrible figure for 13 freaking bucks, man. I was disappointed because of how good the Venom was. So I was expecting the Spider-Man to be just about as good, but it is what it is. Sometimes you take a gamble. For 13 bucks, I really can't complain. This, like, you can see the eyes on this alternate head is very cleanly applied. And actually the web lines on this one is a lot cleaner. There's a little spot right there, but for the most part, the webbing on this head is much cleaner. Much tighter, much more tight knit. Comes down to the eyes right here. But there is some clean paint on this figure. So this alternate head looks good. And like I stated earlier, a reason you can tell that this is the bootleg is because this red is a bright red. It kind of matches the color of the plastic for the rest of the actual figure. And on the Marvel Legends version, this peg, just the peg and the hinge, it's a much darker faded red. So that is another indication that you have a bootleg. But once again, got some really clean work on Spidey's fist here. Not a bad sculpt at all. Here's the other hand right here. More clean paint. Not bad at all. A little miss right there. Didn't come all the way to the line, but you're not going to see that on the shelf, and I don't care. I bet some people that are watching this are probably bugging the fuck out that this paint is so sloppy. Why didn't you just buy the real Marvel Legends for 60 bucks? Because I don't have 60 fucking dollars for a fucking figure, man. I got bills and shit. I got big boy shit to do, okay? I don't always have 60 bucks to willy-nilly just spend on a figure. Not saying I wouldn't do that or I haven't done that for certain characters, but it's just not ideal, man. But now let's get it down to the articulation on this figure. And I guess I reckon I'll just start from the head down. You can kind of see it's a little loose from the ab crunch and the hips, as I was speaking of. Marvel Legends is typically a lot stiffer than that, so most of the time it's another giveaway. You're dealing with a knockoff. This head is also really loose. It doesn't take much, like you can see, it's a little wobbly in there, but you can see down on the bottom of the head here, I don't know if you can see this peg, this ball peg here that it's sitting on. Oh, one more thing I should point out. This back piece where the peg comes through in the back of the neck, this on the bootleg is more rounded. If you look at the Marvel Legends version, it's a lot straighter down here at the bottom of this cut right here. You can see this one's a little bit more rounded at the very bottom. The Marvel Legends will be a lot more straight. All right, back to the articulation now. So I gotta be straight with y'all. This is not as good as the Venom that I just uploaded a couple days or weeks ago, depending on when I uploaded or whatever. But I just gotta be straight with y'all. This has a lot more sloppy paint. There's a little bit more inconsistencies with the authentic Marvel Legends Hasbro product. But that being said, if you're not wanting to spend $60, $70 on a retro carded Spider-Man figure and you want the representation of just the animated series, red and blue costume Spider-Man, you can't really go wrong with this, man. I've been messing with it I got it yesterday now that I'm recording this video, and I've been messing with it a lot. The one thing that I'm really disappointed about, really the only thing I'm disappointed about is just the sloppy paint. And that's very few and far between. I really had to look for it to find it. Like I said, on the mask and bits and pieces on the shoulders here. But for the most part, dude, it's pretty damn clean paint. And the articulation is damn near the same as a Marvel Legends. But now, let me continue on. I was talking about articulation. So, Spidey here got these single ball hinge joints. So he can get to a nice full T right here, no problem. Does have a wobbly head, like I told y'all. So the head, it is a bit shaky, but he can look down about that far. He can look up quite a fair amount. There is some side to side, so you can get some expression out of him. Because he's he's a wisecracking, crime-fighting superhero. I mean, you got to get a little expression out of Spidey. Head spins 360 degrees, of course, so do the arms. We got pinned double hinge elbows. So, we're going to get some good articulation with those below 90 right there, as you can see. Ooh. Getting to the ab crunch, he can bend down about that far, and he can go about that far back. Well, that's the more like, I guess, diaphragm articulation. This is more the ab crunch or waist crunch, whatever. His waist crunch goes down about that far. I'm trying to keep this straight. He can go down about that far, and it raises back that far. So pretty typical for a Marvel Legends. He can lean really far back. And there again, just pointing this out, look at the paint. It's very it kind of runs perpendicular. It's pretty surprisingly clean. Another one thing I wanted to point out while I'm going over the figure and articulation. Another thing is this shade of red. I don't know if y'all can tell on camera. It's a lot more prevalent in person. Is a brighter shade than the red that's on the rest of the arms and the body and the torso and the legs. I don't know if you can pick it up on camera, but this whole abdomen piece is darker than all of this. But that's no big deal. That's just. I'm going to be honest with y'all and tell y'all how it is and how I see it, how I perceive it in my hands. He can kick out right in front of him very well. He's got a little bit of kickback, double pinned knees, so you can get that calf to that hamstring no problem, below 90 degrees. Got thigh swivel here, mid thigh cut. I love me some thigh swivel. And then we also do have calf swivel as well, so that's nice. The feet can go down pretty damn far, and they can also come up a pretty decent amount, not too bad. Getting him to the splits, very good split here. Not bad at all. But yeah, man, like every very decent articulation for this being a bootleg. It's got all the articulation that you would want, all the modern articulation that you would want for a Spidey figure. He's a very dynamic, acrobatic fighter, and he's very coordinated. Oh, one more thing I forgot to show is these butterfly joints. Really, really super deep butterfly joints. Get that on focus real quick. Got some really nice range in these butterfly joints. And they're very smooth, but they're not tight. These are actually a lot stiffer and tighter than the Venom. That's the one thing I can say about this figure compared to the Venom, the bootleg Venom, is that this bootleg Spidey, the joints are a lot tighter, other than the ab crunch and the hips, as I stated earlier. But the Venom, the butterfly joints are very loose, and so is the hips and the ab crunch, and his ankles are a little bit loose, but not bad enough to where he won't stand fine on his own or whatever. But, and just giving y'all a quick, I'm going to give y'all a closer look at the paint and the sculpting. Once again, you can see these eyes very cleanly painted. Other than the mist paint on the mask here, as it runs along down the back. No huge deal, but that's just something I got to let y'all know about. But here's the overall sculpt of the figure. The pins are a little bit ugly, but it is what it is. This is an older figure. I believe the Retro Spider-Man came out in 2016. But I am thoroughly impressed with these bootlegs, I gotta say. And like I said, dude, for 13 bucks, you just can't beat it, man. Would I rather have the Marvel Legends version? Of course I would. Do I want to spend $60 on it? Hell no, not really. But that being said, it's a really decent figure for the money, man. It took about a week, maybe slightly over a week to get here, coming from China. But overall, dude, I gotta tell y'all, I would totally recommend this figure if you're on a budget. I would totally recommend. Sorry, my cats were fighting. I don't know if y'all heard that. I might be able to edit it out. But this Spidey figure, if you're on a budget, man, and you just really want an animated series or just a plain blue-red costume Spider-Man, you just can't go wrong with this, dude. 13 freaking bucks. I get it. There's some missing paint, and you know, I get the frustration. I almost forgot to mention bicep. I also forgot to mention bicep swivel. So that's nice. And now here we are to my favorite part of my reviews, my videos, the side-by-side comparisons. And this is just to give you an idea of the scale of the figures, and it really just makes them feel more lifelike when you start introducing other characters next to each other. And they just look badass together. But here on the right and left are actual Marvel Legends figures, and on the right here is the brand new X-Men 97. Actually, all these figures are pretty much from the X-Men 97 wave that I'm going to show you, besides the last one that I'll go over. I actually got some Spider-Man animated series figures. But here on the right is Nightcrawler from the 97 X-Men 97 reboot, and on the left is also the 97 reboot, Magneto. Also from the X-Men 97 wave, here on the right is the brand new Cyclops, and on the left is Jean Grey. And finally, here's the Marvel Legends Spider-Man animated series, and here on the left is Symbiote Spider-Man, and on the right is the Hobgoblin. Both awesome figures. And here they are, the two bootlegs from AliExpress, the bootleg Venom and the bootleg retro carded Spidey. And I gotta say, dude, overall, I'm thoroughly impressed with these figures. I think they both look fantastic. The Venom definitely takes the cake over the retro carded Spider-Man just because of the more inconsistencies with the compared to the authentic version. But I just love it. These look awesome. And you can see the sheer size of Venom, not even have him stretched out in a wider pose. He's just so freaking bulky. He's like a power lifter bodybuilder compared to Spidey, like where he's got more of like the swimmer rock climber physique. But I just love these two next to each other. They look freaking awesome. And I just wanted to show off the articulation that this figure does have, because you can get into some pretty sick Spidey poses. Kind of like a mid-web swinging look here. Another cool pose, like a mid-jump. Overall, I really gotta say, I really recommend this figure. Other than the sloppy paint, and that's really few and far between. I've seen some much worse retro-carded Spider-Mans. But the line work is actually really clean. It's pretty tight-knit uniform. Other than the slight bits on the mask that don't quite meet up, and on the alternate head. but the eyes are very cleanly applied. The articulation is damn near the same, identical as a Hasbro Marvel Legends. And the paint is, by the time you have them on the shelf, you're not going to notice that, dude. Like I said, I was a little more bummed out when I first got it just because I was so enamored and impressed with the bootleg Venom. I was just kind of expecting to get kind of just basically slapped in the face by how good and awesome the figure was. But I kind of started noticing the inconsistencies compared to the Marvel Legends version just from doing my research and stuff like that. And the Venom one, it was like I had to actually look for the signs that it was a bootleg. But the Spider-Man, like as soon as I opened up, I was kind of starting to notice numerous things. So while the Venom is definitely the better bootleg, better figure overall, I can't totally take away or hate on this one. It's definitely got its good points. For 13 bucks, dude, you just can't beat that, man. 13 bucks is, even for when this figure retail, you're talking about a Marvel Legends, anywhere from $20 to $30, probably 25 bucks. You just can't beat $13, man. That's below retail. And for paying for a bootleg, a knockoff figure, you should never be paying the retail price for the actual. Like, say if Marvel Legends just for say like is $25, like a legit Hasbro product, and then you got a bootleg. That bootleg should not be the same amount as the obvious, authentic Hasbro product. It should definitely be, even if it's $5 lower, if it's $20 you're getting it for, that's still a deal, and it's still pretty fair in my opinion. But for 13 bucks, man, I gotta say I'm pretty impressed, man. The blue and the red, like I said, the paint is very well done. Articulation is damn near identical, and the head is a little bit loose, and the waist crunch, the ab crunch, and the hips are a little bit loose as expected from bootlegs. But by the time you get this thing posed and sit, it really doesn't matter all that much. Does it feel a little cheap in hand? Maybe. Does it look practically just exactly the same as the Marvel Legends version? Pretty damn much, man, other than the slight paint inaccuracies in the overall figure itself. But now that I've shown y'all all the differences and indications to look for to determine whether you have a bootleg or not, you know, I just really can't. I don't want to say anything too bad about this figure, because for $13, I just really can't complain, man. I'm going to sit here and bitch about a couple lines not matching up on the mask or the hips being a little loose for 13 bucks. And I have a very awesome, decent figure and the representation for a character that I grew up loving. You just can't complain, man. So overall, I'm really impressed, and I would totally recommend checking out AliExpress or some of their other bootlegs. I plan on picking up some others just because of how I'm thoroughly impressed with these bootlegs. And I don't have a collector ego where I feel like I need to spend the almost amount for the legit Hasbro stand product. I'm just not. I just want cool figures and cool stuff to put on my shelf, man. And I want to be able to look at it and reminisce on good memories or experiences that I had in the past, or even just pick it up and play with it and pose it. Did I just say play? Yeah, I did say play. I guess technically I am playing with my figures. Let's be honest, we all are. But that's the end of this review. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Leave me a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Mostly a Black Series focused channel, but every once in a while I'll throw up a Marvel Legends, or as you can see, just any. I'll post or review any figure that I think is cool and badass, and that I want to share with others. And I think there's other people that are like me that would love to have this figure on their shelf, but don't want to have to pay 60 freaking dollars for this version. This bootleg gets the job done, man. And until they do a re-release or I find one for a good price, if I see it, I'm definitely plan on getting the legit Hasbro one. But for now, this more than fills the role, in my opinion. But I appreciate you all tuning in. Leave me a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I hope you're all having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. And I kind of pause because I usually say may the force be with you, but this isn't a Star Wars review, so what does Spider-Man say? With great power comes great responsibility. Shit, that was Uncle Ben. Y'all get what I'm saying. Thank y'all for watching.
With great power comes great responsibility. I don't know. That was Uncle Ben, actually. Thanks for watching, y'all. I appreciate it.